Summary of International Homeschool Astronomy, Class 1. The Sun is a star that is found at the center of the solar system. All planets with their moons, asteroids, even comets revolve around the Sun. At around 1,392,000 kilometers, which is 865,000 miles wide, the Sun's diameter is about 110 times wider than the Earth's. The Sun is more than 99% of the mass of its solar system, and because of its life-giving and sustaining properties, from the ancient of times, the Sun was always utilized in the expression of the Most High. Blessed love. Yeah. Down. The moment of the resurrection. $40 days, 40 nights. And more. It is such a joy. give it there for we shall return to it. In fact, rise back the volume, so when I'm ready, I will just keep it on pause, but rise back the volume. Blessed love to each and everyone. Give thanks for your presence with us. Of course, you know you are in the tiger's nest. And glorify and give thanks for Emperor Haile Selassie I and his presence with us. Such life given, the keep of life, as we exalt and glorify and magnify, again give thanks for his presence even at this time. And of course, a mystic time, even in history. So we are also thankful for all fulfillment of prophecy in history and all things that has already been said. Because we must recall, you know, for the death of Daniel alone, the wicked will not find enough shovel to bury their dead. And these are words that those of us as Bobo Shanti, we culture and we repeat and we speak of. And in high vibration, we extend to the earth because we understand again the fulfillment of even such prophecies. Again, give thanks for this is even in the world, they refer to it as Maundy Thursday. And by the time you would be seeing this, you should at least have gotten it on the resurrection morning of the Good Friday, unless you are within some special atmosphere, because the atmosphere is filled with a lot of fear right now. And everyone is clamoring and every little chance they get to do some shopping and do some buying and run back into their caves at a certain time, because if they come out at a certain time, they may have to pay a fine or be locked up in the pen. And then, yeah. But anyway, this is a mystic time in the earth, the coronavirus, and so many different things of which I intend to speak about even this evening. But what we are doing here tonight, we are celebrating the fulfillment of that 40 plus 4 or 5 days, what is known as the Lenten period. As those of you would know, and I would express, and I express it all the time, Rastafari is not a religion. And even those who are Rastafari will disagree, not me, because they disagree, they tell me clearer. But Rastafari is a movement, you know. No, I mean, you may not deal with politics. I mean, some may deal and some may not deal, but I'm not talking of politics in the sense of voting and marking X and all of these different things. Well, at least as Bobo Shanti, we do not or should not be dealing with politics, you know. But I am saying that on a very diplomatic level then, if you do not want to say political, on a diplomatic level, when Rastafari rose up in Jamaica and they were hailing Haile Selassie the first, if you really understand geopolitics, and this is why I use the term, if you understood geopolitics, that was actually a criminal offense to be hailing the monarch. This ain't religion, eh? That's to show you how real Haile Selassie is. This ain't no make-believe fable from Greek or from Rome that we have turned into history. This is real stuff. When Rastafari was hailing in the 50s, 40s, 60s, them time about Coral Gardens massacre, man, just meditate, and them time Jamaica was independent. But the point I'm making is, before independence, they were under the Queen of England. I mean, technically, I mean, it's still the same, but you understand it's supposedly a different level. So for you to be hailing the monarch of another country plus flying the flag of the country, that's a criminal offense. So this is the sort of level Rastafari is on. So when you hear about black power, you're talking about Rastafari, different than anyone. And this is not religion I'm talking about. Again, obviously, this is geopolitics. So we glorify Emperor Haile Selassie the First in all our doings and sayings. And as I said, at this time now, within the realms of Rastafari as a movement, there are different aspects of Rastafari. I mean, I don't think nobody can run from that. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of, whether it is the Nyabingi or the 12 tribe or the Judah Coptic, or, you got different groups here and there. And as I said, some may be a bit more geopolitical. That's the truth. Some definitely are more Afrocentric. That's the truth. Some definitely have some religious touch to it, and definitely very more, if you want to say, on the salvation level. That's for sure. Some are more on the spiritual level and not even aware of it, and that's for sure. Many are also on the health, nutritional level. Some on it are kind of how, but they're more into something else. And that is where you get the different groups and the different factions, the different outlooks, the different dogmas as well. That's just a reality any way you put it together. But then at the same time, even in ancient Africa, with all the different tribes that we have and had, we always had one spiritual link. And this is what we fail to comprehend, because we have warped ourselves and lost ourselves in religion. We fail to comprehend the reality of the oneness in spirit, even if you're different. I mean, you're already one in blood. The oneness in spirit, the spirit and the soul, according to Leviticus, the life of the soul is in the blood. So that is what Rastafari brings. So I'm just saying now, as members of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of Salvation, of which I'm honored to be a leading priest of, we definitely keep up the salvation order of the Lenten period, as it is referred to as. And anyone that studies this time, you would notice for sure that it is something that is aligned with the movements of the heavens. It is something that it is aligned directly with the movements of, the actions, I should say, of the moon in the celestial, and from the so-called Ash Wednesday to the Good Friday period. There is a science within it. Of course, this is something we have spoken about in our previous year Lent addresses. We did about 3 addresses previous year. This year, in a sense, this is the real official address. You could say this is the resurrection address. And as you would know, I was banned for some time from YouTube as well, and many different little things, and you see what's going on in the world. But it's all right. We give thanks, because as we say when we come to this part of the Lent, the sealing up, give thanks for the victory. So the Ethiopian African Black International Congress, just for your knowledge, also known as the Bobo Shanti, we definitely upkeep that period of fasting and praying within that 40-day and night period. As I mentioned on another program, even the term quarantine is a word that means 40 days is a period. It's actually a period of 40 days and 40 nights. So when you hear of, the Christ in the wilderness for the 40 days and the 40 nights, when you also hear of Moses on the mountain for the 40 days and the 40 night period, at the same time Elijah for the 40 days and also the 40 nights. So we give thanks for such, even Noah and the ship and everything, the 40 days and the 40 nights, you know. So it's a lot of science even within the 4 and the 40. And you know, Michael Jackson in Billie Jean, you know, for 40 days and for 40 nights, the law was on her side, and it was the law Moses was dealing with when he was up in the mountains for 40 days and for 40 nights. Who say MJ is not religious, man? I mean, yeah, maybe you just didn't pick it up. But anyway, so quarantine really means 40 days. And so we are giving thanks for the celebration as such, even as members of the Congress. Listen, as I said, we have spoken a lot on the whole Lent aspect. You just have to revisit the channel, the YouTube channel, and you'll see these videos. And for sure, a lot of the questions many ones would have, you got to believe me, I'm sure they're answered in that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this is just an introduction. I haven't even begun what I have in store for tonight. And because it's a special time, you know, the message will be going down different lanes that we have already set. Now, I'm sure that if you have certain specific questions, even about the Lent, which as it is really basically come to an end now, you may want answered even for the next time around. That is why I'm pointing you to certain videos that at least I have done. You know, and of course, any member of this Congress here that you would know, and they seem to be scattered all around and easy to find, you know, here, there, and on different social platforms. So in all honesty, I'm sure anyone, you know, that is a crown prophet or priest or empress of this Congress could definitely fill you in with the understanding of the Lent and the science of the Lent and the Lenten period and how it's done. But as I said, I could point you as well to those videos. Now, actually, what you got at the beginning of the program, that is just a short, one of our short videos for our international homeschool program that you would have heard us pardon me, speak about from time to time. As I said before, we actually have a international homeschool programming that we offer. At the moment, the whole package is from K to grade 2, and this package runs a curriculum that it's off of a curriculum that literally runs with the time frame of what is known as the systems school year, because it was actually created to adapt to the systems school year, the curriculum that we have been working on and still working on up to this day. And other subject areas will be added, because my brothers and sisters, this ain't no joking, man. This ain't no play thing. I mean, some people have it as if this is a comedy show. Trust me. I think this is some playground you could come. This ain't no game show. This is not Nintendo. You know what I mean? This is kingdom building. This is university building. I mean, curriculum building, in a man. It's you know, in reality, it's not the easiest of things, man. It takes brain cells to sit and meds and work on these things and get them down packed. You know what I mean? You know, it is to set up a curriculum, not just an idea, you know, an official, you understand? So I'm just trying to show you now, this is building, you know, both curriculum should carry to, or curricula should carry straight to the, what do you call it, the university level. And then the same thing with the other subject areas that will come in. Supposed to carry to the university level, then what? You have a university there, a real full university, that any scholar, professor, or any one of these ones can come and sit in and look at what you have and say, yeah, this is, you know, this is very credible. You know, the science here is well intact, and all of that and all of this. So that's what it's all about, building the standard and rising the kingdom, and that is just within the Ministry of Education alone. It's we playing around now. We talking about for the death of Daniel, and look how we get caught up in what's going on. Who can save themselves? But anyway, I was just saying that the video that you will see, that is just the minute and plus video that we do for the daily classes that we give. So what we do for anyone that signs up for the program, what we do, we email to them every day, and every day means it's a Monday to Thursday program. So from Monday to Thursday, Monday to Thursday, Monday to Thursday. So even if somebody signs up anytime, the first program they will be getting is on the Monday, you know, so it runs like that. And it must start from K. You can't come and say, well, now we want to start from grade 1. It must start from K. It is really designed, again, for the system so that they could see the quality of within the work that the curriculum can produce and add it to their system. This is what I'm showing you. I've spoken of this several times to those who follow properly and you know, listen to exactly what we're saying. We have addressed cabinet on this same subject area, and remember that on other levels and many letters, pardon me, we have written to the Ministry of Education itself, sat with ministers, Director of Education. Give thanks for those across the waters in Bahamas, you know, the Honorable Sister Jacinta Higgs from the Akefran Academy, and our blessings to all those Honorable Priest Zebulon and all the royal ones in the Bahamas, you know, where the good sister could have called for I to assist in creating a curriculum for them in the Bahamas. I'm not a Bahamian. I'm from Antigua. In fact, that was the first time I went to and fro, you know, and began that swing to and fro Bahamas, you know. So give thanks to the Honorable Priest Blyden at the same time. So I'm just showing you that it's actually designed for the system so that they could adapt it, so they could African heritage, bring some African heritage to the children. So this is why you see us doing essay competition during the time of African History Month every year. At the same time, showing the authorities, the different governments that come, and you can see, you know, that what we have is proper. That, hey man, give this a chance, fit it in. I can help you fit it in. I'm not just putting it on the table and running away. I can help you fit it in. So what we do, as I said, especially since this COVID thing came around, a lot of parents have been saying that they need proper programs for their children. So we already have this package really, and as I said, packaged as a curriculum. And this is something we export every day. Again, so it's between 20 to 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes of classroom sessions. On Mondays, you get astronomy. Tuesdays, it's African history. Wednesday, astronomy. Thursday, African history. And the thing is history and heritage. And it is these two subjects that we give. Let me be clear, this is not a substitute for any curriculum that you or your children are on, you know. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to say too much more about it, although there's a lot more to be said, but you know how you get all the information, just contact me. I want to get into some serious issues this evening. The whole aspect of the testing of the Africans with the vaccines. I just want to touch upon something, and other things directly dealing with this time of the Lenten and what some are referring to as the Passover. And let's see if it's really, let us see if it's really the Passover. I mean, some different vibrations. So what I want you to do is just give this a little attention for a moment. This is just the This is just a short piece of the classroom session that we have right here at the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Okay, blessed love. Blessed love to each and every one. Give thanks for your presence with us. We give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. I am the Honorable Priest Isaac, and we have with me the Honorable Princess Acacia Menen, and also the Honorable Prince Almase. We are the members of the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge, and we'd like to welcome you to our institute. We'd like to welcome you to our first astronomy class, and of course tomorrow we'll be going into our first African history and heritage class, our first session. As you would know, I will be your professor for a while, and of course Prince Alamasi and Princess Acacia Menen, they will be my assistants, but they as well are scholars like yourselves. So once you are now a part of this program, you are not just a student, you are a scholar, because we are promoting scholarship right here. So this is our first astronomy class. Officially, it is from the kindergarten stage, but I will be giving you good information, things that you can apply to your daily living, to your daily life, to your experience in general. We're going to have a wonderful time. Now, of course, astronomy is a subject that many of us, we are not familiar with. Yes, we look out into the heavens, we look at the sky, especially at night, and we see all of these stars and these wonderful moving objects, and we wonder what they are. Sometimes we try to differentiate between a star and a planet. All of this we're going to get into as the days go by. But what we are going to begin with is the whole aspect of the sun. And we thought that it was necessary to begin with that central point in our solar system, again, which is referred to as the sun. Now, everyone should have a copy of our your first solar book entitled The Children of the Sun. And on screen, you could see a copy there. That's it, The Children of the Sun. That is your ebook, my first solar book. And you see the whole aspect of the sun. The sun is the master of the solar system, and we are in the solar system as well. So as I said, this is your first solar book. It's an ebook. It is just one of the many books that you will receive once you are a part of the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. So I'm going to invite you to look at page 1 for the moment you are watching us, so you don't necessarily have to go for your book, because I'm going to be showing you your book right here on the screen. But obviously when the class is over and in your spare time on your tablet or your phone, your iPad, your laptop, whatever it is that you have, you could go through the book for yourself and gather more information and even prepare yourself for when we come again. So as I said, we have page 1 here. Honorable Prince, give us a little rendition of what is going on here on the first page.
On page 1 it says...
On page 1 it says? Okay, tell us what it says. Page 1 is talking.
That's me.
Okay, I hear you.
The sun is a star found in the center of the solar system.
So the sun is a star found in the center of the solar system. Now, one of the first things that jumped out there was the fact that the sun is a star. Now, everybody is not aware of that, that the sun is not a planet. The sun is not a comet. The sun is a star. Now, of course, as we continue to go into the subject area, we're going to go deeper into that. But I just want to highlight for a moment now What else did we read? That the sun is a star.
And is found in the center of the solar system.
So the sun is found in the center of the solar system because the solar, again, the word sol, S-O-L, sol, because that's how you spell solar, you know, S-O-L-A-R, solar system. So as we're looking at this rendition of the solar system, this is taken from an internet video. And again, over time, we'll be utilizing different websites, different articles, different video platforms, just to make our point. So prepare yourself for that as well. And of course, we will also give you links that you yourself could go and do some extra studying. So basically, you see the planets here going around the sun. We have the first planet, which is
Mercury.
Mercury. Then we have Venus, and then of course Venus, pardon me. And then of course the planet that we are on, which is planet Earth. And what planet do we have after Earth?
Mars.
Now, the next planet after Mars is Jupiter. But in between Mars and Jupiter, there's a mystic train of rocks. They refer to it
asteroid belt.
The asteroid belt. That's between Jupiter and Mars. So basically now, yes, give thanks once again. Yeah, we definitely give thanks for even at this moment, the resurrection hour. Give thanks to the Black Christ in flesh. Oh yes, glorify the honorable prophet Marcus, Messiah Garvey, again all doings and saying. So yes, my brothers and sisters, that's basically just a touch of really the classroom that we bring forward. As I said, that's a daily classroom that we bring forward. And it is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Mondays and Wednesdays, astronomy, and Tuesdays and Thursdays, you have history. And I just want to make this clear even before you contact us. As I said, this is a year program. It runs for 40 strongs, and it's really a strong, what they call 40 weeks. But what we do, as I said, it is 4 so-called weeks in the month. And we don't run it like January, February, March, you know. We actually run it first month, second month to the 10th month. So it's really the first week, second week, third week, the fourth week, that's a month. Whatever date or whatever it drops on, that's a month, you know. And then the next 4 weeks, that's a month. And we do it for 10 months. And we consider that a year. And then you get as an official company, you get a certificate from us here at the Priest Isaac's Institute for every year that passes if you continue to stay with us. And at the same time, remember the program is also filled with a lot of activities and a lot of grading and assessments will be taking place, so you could see exactly how yourself or your child, whatever it is, score, just so you could keep on track with exactly your evolution with this program. So I'm looking forward for all those, you know, who are in a position to partake of it. It's definitely worth it, definitely for sure. The whole year package is $500. That's for the whole year. And if an individual, whatever level of down payment, starting from a month's worth. So in other words, you could really pay every month for the program. And of course, if you stop the program would stop at the same time, you could make a half-year installment, whatever the installment you make, you know, that's exactly what you would get. At least that is how it is for this program here. You know, it's a very serious program. This ain't no Winnie the Pooh business. And, you know, as we say, this is a revolution. And so it's up to you. You just contact us, email us, priestisaac27@gmail.com. Before we leave tonight, I would give you a bit more as it relates to even that. Okay, now, I just want to touch upon this. I just want to be sure that you are seeing what I'm seeing here. All right. I'm sure many of you have heard of this. Let me be sure. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Racism row as French doctors suggest virus vaccine tests in Africa. And this is something that I did a whole program as it relates to this on the Shock of the Hour, which is our radio program, which it also comes to you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, but that's an audio radio program. So we did a whole program dealing with this subject area here, but you know, I said I wanted to touch this and basically somewhat dovetail into another aspect of really the same subject. So this is an Al Jazeera report, as you could see. Racism row as French doctors suggest virus vaccine test in Africa. And it says here, 2 doctors spark criticism for discussing the idea of testing, apparently for discussing in a TV show, the idea of testing a vaccine for the coronavirus in Africa. All right, and it shows you a picture here of some people in Africa. Africa is currently the continent least affected by COVID-19, with nearly 7,500 cases and more than 320 deaths. And this was since the 4th of April, mark you. And you see some people here putting on some hand sanitizer for the coronavirus war. 2 French doctors have been accused of racism for suggesting that a potential vaccine for coronavirus should first be tested on people in Africa. The comments were made on a French television channel, LCI, during a discussion on Wednesday about COVID-19 trials set to be launched in Europe and Australia to see if the BCG tuberculosis vaccine could be used to treat the virus. It may be provocative. Should we not do this study in Africa, where there are no masks, no treatment or intensive care? A little bit like it's being done for certain AIDS studies, where among prostitutes we try things, but because we know that they are highly exposed and don't protect themselves, said Jean-Paul Mira, head of the intensive care unit at the Cochin Hospital in Paris. Okay, it may desire a next read, but most of you, I'm sure, could see what's there. Basically, the main point is that what he's about to say is a bit provocative, you know what I mean? And he wants to know, should we not do this testing of the vaccine? Should we not do this study in Africa, where there are no masks, you know? no treatment or intensive care. A little bit like we have done, you know, have been done, pardon me, for certain AIDS studies, where among prostitutes, we try things because we know that they are highly exposed and don't protect themselves. And he's asking a question, if we shouldn't try this in Africa. We've done it before. Basically, that's what he's saying. We've done it before. This report goes on to say, Kamel Lochet, research editor or research director at France's National Health Institute in CERN, agreed. Agreed for you. It must be greed. Agreed. Anyway, she agreed. You're right. And by the way, we are thinking of in parallel about a study in Africa using this same approach. Jean-Paul, you hit the nail on the head. And this is what you're looking at there is a tweet from the football star, the Ivorian football star, Didier Drogba, if that's the right pronunciation. I'm not the biggest football fan in the world, but the information is going to be down here, so let me just scroll down a bit. It did not take long for the backlash to begin on social media. Africa isn't a testing lab. Ivorian professional football player Didier Drogba, who used to play for Chelsea, wrote on Twitter, I would like to vividly denounce those demeaning, false, and most of all, deeply racist words. Olivier Faure of France's Socialist Party said the remarks, well, I see the marks, but I think it should be the remarks were hardly a provocation. It's not provocation, it's just racism, he wrote on Twitter. Africa is not a laboratory for Europe. Africans are not rats. Okay. Now, and it goes on and on, you know, you could take a look at the article. I'm not going to go through everything. Interesting stuff. And there is an interview that you could find on the internet with Patrick Lumumba, Professor Patrick Lumumba, who did an interview with a lady, I can't recall exactly the host's name, but he also mentioned something about the whole aspect of Africa should do their own tests, but that's almost on a different level for the moment. Let me just stick to what we have here. So you could see, as I said, the tweet there from the brother. And he's saying Africa is not a testing lab. And the other individual said something to the same. But Jean-Paul Mira was not just saying that we should do it. He was also, you could say he was spilling the beans. He also said, remember, we did something like this already. We did a program just the other day, a shock of the hour program. We didn't put it on the YouTube, but it's, or did we? I think we did something on YouTube. I can't even recall. As it relates to the individual in South Africa, the former mercenary, Alex Jones. I think it's, well, Alex Jones really, but I think it's short for Alexander, not Alex Jones of Prison Planet fame. This is another individual in South Africa who said that, you know what I mean, he was like the head of a squad of people that would go into the slums of South Africa and introduce AIDS through vaccines. That's what he was saying. I think many of you have seen the raw footage and the extended footage differently than whatever I may have showed you. So just meditate and concentrate on even that. You know, that's real thing. So now this is real time. And just to show you how dumbed down we are, that people can get away with saying this. And these are just the ones that say it in, not those that not saying nothing. These are just the ones that happen to just tell you how they feel. But they have a lot of them, even those who may be condemning them. That feel the same way. Jean Paul saying, and listen to this individual here is the head of the intensive care unit at Cochin Hospital in Paris. He is the head of the intensive care unit. So if you live in Paris, I mean, I pray you don't have to reach in, especially if you are an African. I hope you don't have to reach into the intensive care unit at Cochin Hospital at all. Because if Mr. Jean Paul Mivra is waiting for you, and rather worse if Miss Camille Loche is on his side. She is the research director at France's National Health Institute, and she agreed. Let's go test the Negroes. And then the footballer saying that we're not, Africa is not a testing lab. What do you mean it's not? The fella just tell you that we have done it already. People would be sending me emails. Oh, need to hear more about the coronavirus. Oh, you're not speaking enough about the 5G. I say, you know, look at this. This is a time, right, where you could clearly see, a lot of you don't even have the faintest idea what is happening behind the scenes. You think you know what's happening behind the curtains. You're living in a time, again, where you could clearly see. Your brother was put on pause. Just the very same day, I explained all of this already, the very same day that the COVID hit around here, they said, Priest Isaac, you keep quiet for a while. That's YouTube. For other reasons, of course. And the Good Platform has a statement that they have put out for those who may have a channel. And this is not word for word, more paraphrasing, where they said that due to the COVID-19 and because of the lack of human resource, you know, they may have to just randomly take down some videos. It doesn't mean that you have violated any of their, you know, rules and regulations, but, you know, we just gotta, and I would prefer you read it for yourself. I don't want to say what they didn't say, but that's the impression I got. So, I mean, I think I have some level of understanding. So if I got the wrong impression, YouTube, maybe you should, the wording, you should check it, because that's the impression I got. That some videos would just come down, you know, just come down, you know, not that you did anything wrong, but we don't have enough people here that we are, you know, we have to send people home, and so videos will just come down. Interesting. I'm telling you, this is the time we're living in. We're living in a time when your device, the battery just goes dead because you're talking about something people don't want you to talk about. This is, I've never been in a time where so many YouTube and Facebook and Twitter presenters were saying, well, I hope they don't take down this one. Well, I hope many of you get this one before they take it down. This is the takedown era. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying to those of you. I mean, it's good that you could make your request, but this is not a disco. And this is the song I want to hear. I am positive there are things that I speak of that nobody talk about, nobody. And there are other people that speaks about things very necessary for you to hear that I don't speak about. You get the point? So if you hear somebody over there, because they tell you all that, who talking about 5G and he have all the information, okay, well, give thanks. And some of the people they're talking about, I speak about them too, and I even tell you, hey, you should check out here. What I'm showing you is this, because I like to deal with the psychological aspect of some of our people. And this is psychology we're talking about here. We ain't even handling this so-called crisis properly. The following speech made by former South African President P.W. Botha to his cabinet. This reprint was written by David G. Malihu for the Sunday Times, a South African newspaper dated 18 August 1985. We've spoken of this already, but I just want to highlight certain things quickly. Pretoria, has been made by the white mind for the white man. We are not obligated, even the least, to try to prove to anyone and to the blacks that we are superior people. We have demonstrated that to the blacks in 1,001 ways. The Republic of South Africa that we know of today has not been created by wishful thinking. We have created it at the expense of intelligence, sweat, and blood. Were they Afrikaners, and when he says Afrikaners, of course, that is the Europeans he's speaking of, but were they Afrikaners who tried to eliminate the Australian Aborigines? That's a question. Are they Afrikaners who discriminate against blacks and call them niggers in the United States? Another question he's asking. Were they Afrikaners, the Europeans in South Africa, who started the slave trade? That's the next question. Blacks, where is the black man appreciated? That's the next question. England discriminates against its black, and their SUS law is out to discipline the blacks. Canada, France, Russia, and Japan all play their discrimination too. Japan, well, all play their discrimination too. Why the hell then is so much noise made about us? Take it easy, Botha. We don't talk like that. Why are they biased against us? I'm simply trying to prove to you all that there's nothing unusual. We are doing that the so-called civilized worlds are not doing. We are simply an honest people who have come out aloud with a clear philosophy of how we want to live our own white life. So this is Botha clearly showing you that it's not he. For example, this is the time, keep in mind the time. This is the time when they're showing you now, listen, man, apartheid must stop. So everybody in the world was coming down on South Africa because of its apartheid law and regime. So even Europe now started to come down, Spain and whoever else, the United States, Britain coming down in South Africa and want to sanction them and this and that. And he's showing you, well, listen, man, I don't know what they're talking about. We were not the ones that killed the Aborigines in South Africa. This is what he's saying, but I mean, he's still one and the same. But anyway, we're not the ones that, the black people in the United States. And then he started to call it Canada, France, Russia, Japan even jump into the pot. These are the ones that are discriminating. So if we're discriminating against our Negroes here, what's the problem? So he goes on to say, very important, we do not pretend like other whites that we like blacks. Them is some key points. The fact that blacks look like human beings and act like human beings do not necessarily make them sensible human beings. Hedgehogs are not porcupines and lizards are not crocodiles. simply because they look alike. They look alike. Okay. If God wanted us to be equal to blacks, he would have created us all of a uniform color and intellect. But he created us differently. White, blacks, yellow, rulers and ruled. Intellectually, we are superior to the blacks. That has been proven beyond any reasonable doubt over the years. Okay, all right. Let me just move quickly here. So you see what Mr. Botha there is talking about. He's clearly showing you that, you know, God created us differently. But I must say, I mean, I don't think he's speaking scientifically at all there whatsoever. I think by now we have an understanding that the original man, and you know, because of his comment there, you know, there is the disrespect, you know, and when we speak the truth, people take it as disrespect too. But if God created a human being, it's black people he created. In a sense, black people is what a human being is. Straight up, anyone who vexed, that's up to them. I ain't saying it to you because I want to hurt your feelings, and I ain't looking no friend with nobody. I just talking the truth. Sometimes you have to say it, because some people, they're just way beyond any common sense and they just lose their head. The reality is, if you're into the truth, the first human beings, and they are the first human beings for a very long time, before any other human being, is, you know, the melanated man, the original black man. In fact, the black man has been here by himself for a much longer time than he has been here with any other so-called race. You know, you may not like the word race, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. So basically what Botha says here is that these same people that fighting against him, they're the same ones that are buying the gold and everything that they're robbing from the black people here. And he even goes as far as showing that their economy is backed by America and Britain and Germany. That's what he's saying here. So he's saying behind the curtains, you know, we're doing good. So listen to this now. He says here, so brothers and sisters, let us join together to fight against this black devil. I appeal to all Afrikaners to come out with any creative means. Listen to this. I appeal to all Afrikaners to come out with any creative means of fighting this war. Surely God cannot forsake his own people, whom we are. By now, every one of us has seen it practically that these blacks, pardon, cannot rule themselves. Give them guns and they will kill each other. They are good in nothing else but making noise, dancing, marrying many wives, and indulging in sex. Let us all accept that the black man is the symbol of poverty, mental inferiority, laziness, and emotional incompetence. But anyway, he can go and say what he's saying. The main thing I was highlighting is when he said that he's charging and appealing to all his people to get creative means, you know, come up with creative means for fighting the war. You understand? He made a a level of disrespect to Nelson Mandela here. Hence, we have good reason to let all the Mandelas rot in prison. But basically, you know, I'm looking for a specific part, I must say. Okay, here it is. I am sending out. I wish to announce a number of new strategies that should be put to use to destroy this black bug. We should now make use of the chemical weapon. Priority number one, we should not by all means allow any more increase of the black population lest we be choked very soon. I have exciting news that our scientists have come with an efficient stuff. I am sending out more researchers to the field to identify as many venues as possible where the chemical weapons could be employed to combat any further population increase. Hear this, the hospital is a very strategic opening, for example, and should be fully utilized. Let me repeat that. the hospital is a very strategic opening, for example, and should be fully utilized. The food supply channel should be used. And we have developed excellent slow killing poisons and fertility destroyers. I'm not going to read any more. What I will just say is that, and we're not using the secret agent term of conspiracy theory around here. I hear sensible people referring to themselves saying, well, I am one of these conspiracy theories. And no, don't say that. Don't make them choppy with them dead talk. What conspiracy theory? That's the key word. That's the secret word. That's kryptonite to the knowledge you bring in. So the society somehow believes that if somebody has the truth and you just say, throw the conspiracy theory bomb at him. Conspiracy theory? Oh, I knew what he was saying was stupidness. How you know that? This fellow just said it's conspiracy theory. Oh, I didn't know. So everybody knows for sure that Botha is a killer. I think everyone knows that. That's why the whole world was fighting against him. Our very own Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards, a national hero here in Antigua and Barbuda, refused to play. He was given a blank check to come and play cricket in South Africa, and he refused. A blank check, eh? A blank check, and he refused to go. I'm just saying here that Mr. Botha here is clearly showing you that he needs chemical weapons, or he's asking the population to come up with any efficient stuff that we can use to destroy these black people. And we have some scientists working on some new chemical weapons. This is what the man is saying. And again, this is nothing for you to try to deny. You know who these people are. This is 1980, whatever. A lot of you listening to this, you were, you know what I mean? Some of you may have been children. Some of you may have been young. Some of you may have already been teenagers or already adults, but you know what was taking place in South Africa when Nelson Mandela was in jail, the Winnie Mandela story. So you understand how they think, and this is not no hundreds of years ago talking and slave ship. This is yesterday's news, you know. Some of these same demons that were doing these atrocities are still sitting down in the rocking chair in some of the palaces in South Africa, while poor people are dying and starving, even in a time like now of this COVID business going on. A lot of people are in lockdown, dying in lockdown in South Africa. This is a serious thing going on here, you know. And we want to pretend like this is gone and slavery done and we don't remember that no more. That is the psychological state that we are in. That's why when people act and talk certain things, I come out and talk about it. Don't me don't tell me, oh, you need to talk about this and that. No, man, check yourself. Those of us here on the battlefield, brother, battlefield in the front line, you know, enemy, you know, is a war. Botha call this a war. So anybody standing up like this, you must appreciate that they're on the front line. This is life and death. You think this is some kind of joke? This is life and death. And the thing is, on the terrestrial low level, this ain't something that we have to do. You understand? But on the spiritual level, this is our calling. So we got to do it. When I said this, I don't mean coming on YouTube. YouTube could die tomorrow. It don't make a thing. I mean, they just lock us off. Our clock didn't stop ticking. But anyway, so this killer is telling you to utilize the supermarkets and utilize the hospital where people born and die, and fertility drugs. This is what he's saying, and this is a reality. No, I'm saying, he's saying that all the other people that act as if they're fighting against him, they're with him as well. This is what he's saying. They're with him as well. In fact, they're the ones still buying our products. These are our brothers. They think the same as us. They're persecutors as well. And I'm trying to show you, man, that the world is not too far removed from this. The world is not too far removed from this. I don't know if it's hide and seek we're playing, but maybe when Jean-Paul Marie or Marat, whatever his name is, spoke out the other day in France about going and sticking needles into Africans and see if they live or die. I don't know if he spilled the marbles by mistake. I don't know. But what he said is what many of them think. There's a little Botha in all of them people you see talking on television. I don't know who you're trusting talking about, oh, this doctor that is with the president, he's the man to trust. Wait, you feel them people can save you? What's wrong with you, man? You crazy? You forget what's going on, what happened to all the Illuminati talking, and Mr. Cooper, what's his name there? Pale Horse, you forget about all that? That dead now? And economic hitman, what happened to all of that talk? The alien talk gone out the door? Yeah, now is the time for all the talk to be put into action. Let's see the talk now. I'm looking for my mask. I have a mask here that just say you have to wear. It's a law around here to wear your mask. I'm looking for a mask. I can't find a mask. It's a law around here to wear the mask. And they're giving out masks for you to wear. Hey? Now, how many of us know anything about the mask? How many of us know where the mask was made? You're just gonna put the mask on your face and you're gone with the mask. What the government said, well, yeah, the government said, and more, you know, and you know them personally. You just live in a little island. This ain't New York, and yeah. They don't even know where it's coming from. They don't even know where it's coming from. What are you talking about? What happened to the depopulation program? What happened to the Bill Gates stuff? All that dead now. We forget that and just doing this follow. Stay inside. Stay inside. Can't find a mask, the prince. I thought we had a mask. We ain't a mask thing, man. Yeah, man, we take our turban and we ninja up, but it's all right. This ain't no show and tell here. Yeah. So what he is saying here, my family, is something that's taking place now. Basically, that's it. What he's saying here is happening now. It's no different. And he is just an outspoken one. He's like them scientists, just say what I mean. But many others, just in the same way that he says that what they're doing, the others are doing secretly. The others are doing secretly and pretend as if, oh, no, we're not like that. And they're the same. In the same way that he's saying that, it's the same way the scientists spoke. And the other one said, hey, I agree. And the others say, no, don't say that. Shh. We said we'll keep that quiet. What you saying there? I totally condemn that statement. Yeah, right. So we did a program, the depopulation program. You should go and check it. You know, I actually said I was going to bring that document tonight, and I said, no, man, I did the program already. One's like to demand and knew what to talk about. One should give respect. And I visit the program, and I think the views are low. So if we're serious, man, go and visit that program, the depopulation agenda. You see, I have to say it, man. You have some people that they're on cyberspace or in cyberspace more than you. And they have made up names. Red Cloud. I know their mother didn't name them no Red Cloud. They have some picture of some kind of artwork that somebody else did. I know that's not a picture of them. You don't know nothing about them. You don't know where they live, their email, phone number, nothing. You have no idea of what's going on in their environment. And they have the most talks. They have the most talks. And sometimes I wonder if they don't understand some of the people they think they're talking against can just track them and go and knock on the door, man. They have the most talks. They should show their face. And then they will understand what's going on in the Gideon. And let me be clear, I'm not speaking of anyone that has anything ill to say about me. No, please, that's not what I'm talking about. Not at all. I'm speaking of ones that would even come and tell you, oh, come on, priest, you need to burn more fire than Donald Trump. They're telling me as if they are my executive producers. Look, my executive producers, them here. Yes, my Lord, bless it. Them is my executive producers and directors. Don't be telling me I must burn fire Donald Trump. So I can't burn fire Obama. Oh, no, that's our brother there. You see, oh, yeah. Our extra $1 million went on the head of our sister in Cuba, Assata Shakur, under the presidency of our brother. But anyway, I'm not going no more in that. So basically what I'm saying is that I like to stress the point. I think in all our knowledge and consciousness, to be honest, a lot of us as conscious ones, it comes to me like we get lost in the reality of what's really happening and somehow morph ourselves into the runnings of the world. Straight up. Straight up. So yeah. Yeah. Honorable Prince, give me some lab, Mingy there. Yes, my brothers and sisters, don't go anywhere at all, eh? Now we're going into the vibes I really want to touch upon. Yeah, Rastafari. This is the Lent season now. Heart for celebration. Time and place for everything. And I don't want to keep you forever. Go and check the depopulation program we did at YouTube. Give thanks to the executive producer. As I said, this is the moment of the resurrection. Low in the grave he laid me, rest my Savior, man. Wait in the coming day, rest my Lord. Up from the grave he arose. The mighty triumph over his foes. He rose the victor from the dark domain. I live forever with the faithful name. Amen.
Dance man resurrection hour. Crucified Messiah. Even during this program, we done witness a crucifixion and a resurrection. The destruction of the pipeline. And a resurrection, a new one appears. Yes, my people, give thanks for staying with us, staying with us. More than likely you're locked in, give thanks to the vibration. I hope you and the full family are up close. I want to get a hear me now this night. Give thanks to the light within the people. Yes, we're just here celebrating again. And of course, let me not keep you too long. Good night, Prince. Blessed love. And what we have here is I just wanted to highlight the ceremony, the Homowo is pronounced, if I'm not mistaken, but as you can see the spelling there, Homowo festival. And what is interesting here, I'm taking this from the visitghana.com site. So what it shows you here, you could see some of the different days and the dates that would have aligned with Homowo in 2019. And there's different types of festivals you see taking place in Ghana, from the different types of people as well, the different tribes, festivals that have to do with different things. You know, you see that taking place in Ghana, a lot of different festivals. So this highlights the Homowo festival, and it seems like it's an extended festival as well. So as you could see here, the Nungua, that was in Saturday, July the 16th, 2019. Lante, the Zanwe, that was Saturday the 3rd of August, 2019. And Tima, Friday the 9th of August, 2019. Gamashie, Saturday the 17th of August. And you know, the 17th of August is Marcus Garvey's birthday. So when we see these kind of, you know, alignments and vibration is something that we like to, you know, highlight. And Osu, which was Tuesday the 27th of August, and La the 27th, and Teshi and Kopon was also, and Pram Pram and Ningo, all the 27th, a very key day too. That's a terrible day. I think it was 2003. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I think it was 2003. It was actually the year that the Honorable Idi Amin was reported to have made a move, and that's in there. And that was the 16th of August, 2003, I think. But if that is the year, it would have been the same year, August 27th, when Mars was closest to the Earth, and Mars, you know, the whole Idi Amin, Marcus Garvey, and Mars from you have the Night of the Black Tiger. Do you have a copy of the Night of the Black Tiger? I mean, this is another thing, the Night of the Black Tiger. I hear people talking about facts and evidence and all of that, and sometimes I smile. I mean, we have in our archives different documentaries and books that are untouched and unmatched up to this day. The Night of the Black Tiger. I am telling you, if you do not have a copy of it's not a video lecture, it's not a lecture, it's not a slide presentation, it's a documentary. In fact, it's just our third official documentary outside of the Master of Ceremonies and the documentary 7. And this is the documentary, The Night of the Black Tiger, which is the divinity of Marcus Messiah Garvey. So you should have a copy of the Night of the Black Tiger. Even that is something that is upful for your children to take in, very exciting and animated and all of that. So about Homowo, and of course, all you have to do is contact us, priestisaac27@gmail.com, and say, Honorable Priest, we would like a copy of the Night of the Black Tiger. About Homowo, the word Homowo, homo, according to this hunger, wo or wa, hoot can mean to hoot or to jeer at hunger. In the Ga language, the tradition of Homowo started with a period of hunger leading to famine due to failure of the seasonal rains needed by crops in the Greater Accra Region, where the Ga people predominantly dwell. When the rains returned to normal, the Ga people celebrated by creating the Homowo festival, hence its name and meaning. Homowo is greatly celebrated in all the towns in the Ga state, with celebrations climaxing in Gamashie. And of course, you know, we have a good rights of people that listen to us in Ghana. So I'm just sending out all love to the people in Ghana, all love to those who are even a member of the Ga people and the Ga tradition, and who even practice this and know, you know, much more about this than even what I'm saying here. So give thanks to that, and enough love to even the Zulu people in South Africa who understand even what I'm speaking of when we were speaking of P.W. Botha. So Ghana, it's saying here, the celebration begins with the planting of maize, which is corn, which will be used in preparing the food for the festival named Kpokpoi. I hope that's correct. Kpokpoi or Kpekple. During this period, noise making is prohibited or banned, since it is believed that it disturbs the gods. The meal is eaten with palm nut soup, and it is also sprinkled within the town. It is normally done by traditional leaders and family heads. Celebration includes marching down roads and streets, beating drums, chanting, face painting, singing, and traditional dances. Even though the celebration of Homowo is a Ga tradition, many other ethnic groups are welcomed to also join in the celebration. Listen to this now. The Homowo festival of the Ga tribe is believed to have a lineage from the Jewish tribe and its ancestral tradition of the Jewish Passover feast. There is a video that I got from a good brother, showing, I think it was a Jewish funeral that was taking place in the Big Apple. And the police or whoever it was came out with their water hose in the same way as they did in the time back in the 60s and 50s, and you could see them. I don't know if you've seen the video. I have the video, man, and you could see them spraying the Jewish people away. Like, I gone on the next subject. May I show you that some other time? Spraying them away, literally spraying them away. You see them flying. A lot of them, hundreds of them in the black and the Jewish hat, hundreds of them out in the street. And they refuse to move when the police officers come, because you know you're not supposed to be gathered together and everybody together there and at the funeral. Why they just spray them out of the way? Yeah, it's just interesting to watch, you know. That's all I'm saying there. And it just came to mind since they mentioned this Jewish stuff here. I'm going to get back to that Jewish stuff right now. But just quickly showing you, okay, some of the towns that celebrate Homowo Allah, Teshe, Enungwa, Oshu, Gamashie, Teme, and something. And it's not something in no disrespect. It says and others. And it says here, date scheduled for 2019 Ga Homowo festivals, and it has some extra dates with some extra stuff. Dantoe, Monday the 6th of May, that's the same 2019. So you see it's also stretching into May, until May the 14th, and different dates. And you know, you could see something that you have to get more into to understand the whole tradition. And this is the food they make from the cornmeal. Of course, you know, in the West Indies, in the Caribbean, we have that fungi that we make from the cornmeal. Some people say slave food, but some people say, man, you could see the link with the fufu and all of that that they make in Ghana. Right. Now, obviously, as you could see from just this report as well, it is speaking of the connection that the Ghanaian people and this tradition here of the Homowo has. There's a connection that it has with the Passover. Now, this time of the year, after the spring equinox and the 1st of April, a lot of ones consider it to be the Passover, this time frame. In fact, during the Good Friday to Easter, some people literally refer to that time as the Passover. Okay, interesting. And let me also say again, I think I should say that we have done programs on Easter as well. And, you know, to be honest, it delights me to know that if you're really checking for a certain level of information, we're not here pretending to be no master teacher, nobody, you know, not looking for no grand following and this and that and pretending to be this and that. To be very honest, a lot of ones, you know what I mean, brand us with different titles straight up. But, you know, it's just about information and knowledge. And other things too, it's about building a nation for real and building a kingdom and establishing a real government upon the planet. That's really what it's all about, you know. But for sure, it's really something that delights I to know that once check out the other information that we have already put down. We have done programs on Easter that you should take in, you know, you should take in to understand the science that comes with it. Very important, even to connect it to a lot of what even we would say now and have been saying since we've been on this. So the Passover, some people actually substitute the Easter for it, which is not the best substitute at all, especially if you're looking at the Passover, maybe from an Orthodox Hebrew aspect. All right. That's a lot I'm saying, and I'm saying that to say this. Okay. All right. I'm going to read here. Please stay with me, eh? Please stay with me here. Don't go anywhere at all. This is going to be some interesting stuff. This is from the book of Exodus, King James Version, chapter 12. I'm going to try to go through this fast. I don't want to be too long on this at all. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take of them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. I may do some skipping out, but of course we just fill in. You can see it for yourself. You know, it's nothing. Yeah. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto him, unto his house, take it according to the number of his souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. And the lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out of the sheep or from the goats. And ye shall keep it until the 40th day of the same month. Key points. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door post of the house wherein they shall eat it. And it says, they shall eat it night, roast with fire, unleavened bread, bitter herbs, they shall eat it. Eat it not raw, sodden with water, roasted fire, with legs and head. Okay. And yet nothing shall remain until the morning, anything remain shall be burned with fire. And they shall eat it, girded loins, shoes and footstaff in hand, and eat in haste. It is the Lord Passover. As you can see, it's almost speed reading. And then it says now, for I shall pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. Nice. And the blood shall be, and the blood shall be to you for a token upon the house where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. Pass the palm oil with me, my lord, please. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and it shall keep, and ye shall keep it, pardon me, a feast to the Lord throughout your generations, and ye shall keep it a feast by the ordinance. All right. Okay, bam, bam, bam. Verse 18, just running through all of that. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. All right. Yes, give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. All right. Now, what we were reading there a moment ago, that is in the book of Exodus, speaking of the Passover. Now, the thing is, I'm just showing you a video here. This is, as you could see, this is a visit of Haile Selassie, the 21st of April, 1966. But anyway, let's get back to the Passover reasoning. So, Homowo, or Homowo, has made this connection with the Passover. According to the article we read, there is a link. Now, I didn't need the article to tell me that. In fact, we've done programs on that as well already. Eh? But to be honest, you know, sometimes information will vary, and sometimes it's not that the information vary because one is right and one is wrong. I mean, the culture may vary too, meaning that we've also come across information showing that what they would do is to take the red clay or red mud, pardon me, and they would put it above their doorposts, and it's like a sign. That is why during that time the whole drums and everything and the noise making goes quiet, at least at a specific time of the Homo celebration. And then afterwards they come out with singing, dancing, and feasting, just showing you what's going on here too. This is, as I said, this is when, if you've never seen this, this is when Haile Selassie I visited Jamaica in 1966. You see when he landed, all the people came out on the airport there and under the plane and all of that. Wow, you may be saying, wow, but why is he showing us this and talking about that? He's confusing us. Yeah, you sure? Just follow, man. You could watch. Don't worry, watch. This is him moving with the Governor General Clifford Campbell. Watch, man. Don't worry. I ain't talking about something different. So anyway, but as you heard in that article that we read, it is showing you now that the palm oil, they make a specific meal using the palm oil. As you could see, it's red. This is palm oil from Ghana. And according to that article, they would sprinkle it throughout the village and throughout the area. As I said, specifically, they would take it and they would put it on their doorposts. As I said, the palm oil that they make, the food that they make from it, and some information will tell you. I mean, people directly from Ghana will tell you that it is a red mud that they use, and they put it over the doorpost as well. Now, obviously, and remember, this is a time of somewhat solitude, a time of humility, a time of fasting. Remember, it has to do with hunger, you know, so-called famine. It's a time of humbling yourself as such until it comes to an end, after the death angel passes over the land of Egypt, according to what we just read. And keep in mind, Egypt there, we ain't talking about Kemet, you know. This is symbolic of the place of captivity. So I'm just showing you now. You could see where that connection is. that the people in Ghana, in their tradition, they are humbling themselves for a specific time, a month period. You could see it start in May and gone in August and June, and lengthy time. And after coming out of this quiet period, they celebrate and they take the palm oil, or they take the red mud, symbolic of blood. It's a sacrifice, and they put it on the doorpost and they put it above wherever, you know, that you have to pass through the gates. And this is why you could see the similarity in what was written in the Bible. So in the Bible now, what you have, and this is what you're looking at here. If is this that the part where the king, oh no, it's not that. That's when he met Bustamante. This is when Haile Selassie met Alexander Bustamante in 1966. He's changing the subject again. He should just speak about one thing at a time. I love that. Oh, yeah, well, maybe you pick up on it, right. So I'm just saying now, in the Bible, you know the story. They had to take a lamb, which is extremely prophetic now. They had to take a lamb without blemish, a perfect one. You know what I mean? No scar, nothing. And they brought this lamb out as the sacrifice. And of course, a lot of symbolism is put there, you know, eat it not raw and roast it with the head and the legs and all of that. High symbolism, and eat it with your sandals on and staff in your hand, ready for the war. High, the food of 7 man. And this lamb now, which is very symbolic, of course, as of the sacrificial lamb in flesh, the human being I'm talking about, the lamb and the bread, the lamb's bread, you know. So the Christ figure is who is being spoken of there. The Christ figure, the Messiah figure, the one who bears the 5 bleeding wounds. We're getting into some of that soon. Just bear with me for a little more. Don't worry, I'm not going to hold you all night. Just bear with me, or tiger with me, I prefer to say. So in the Exodus, the God figure passes over in the dark clouds, and the children of Israel were supposed to go into their little huts and be quiet. But after sacrificing the lamb, they're supposed to take the blood of the lamb and beat the doorpost with the blood of the lamb. And when the death angel passes over and his hosts, those who have the palm oil on their door, pardon me, sorry, the red mud on their door, no, what are we talking about? The blood of the lamb on their doorposts shall be saved. After such a lengthy period of mourning and praying, trying to appease the gods according to what that article just said. Now, basically you can see the link, and I am not too sure that the tradition, the ancient tradition of Homowo, was taken from the Jewish tradition of Passover at all. Especially if we're going to define the Jewish people as the same people that they were hosing down in New York City. And this as well, excuse me, sister, pardon. And this as well, this is when the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards met Emperor Haile Selassie I. Just a small bit of the action there, of course, in King's House. And this is from the visit of 1966, pardon me, the 21st day of April, and a visit that we have spoken of in depth as well, a very important visit at the time. And of course, the emperor meeting 31 heads of the Rastafari movement, as I said at the beginning of the program. And each of these brethren here that you see meeting the emperor, had the pleasure of meeting the emperor, all of them were given gold medals, which is very symbolic of winning out the race, you know. So we're thankful, and of course you would know of the documents that were given to the Jamaican government as it relates to the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, and of course the whole connection with the United Nations. And this is of course something, again, we've gone through in depth, but it's with just understanding that it's key. Man that was crowned the champion of human rights, and the records are there to show from even the time of Secretary General Houghton and ones like um, Crooks, Roy Crooks and Bagwa Singh, ones that were heads of specific offices within the United Nations, from the seabed to the Office of Human Rights, the Department of Human Rights, and other ones that could tell you directly, you know, of the works that King Emmanuel has done as it relates to human rights. So as we have said in other documentaries that we have done on this subject, when Haile Selassie I visited Jamaica, and I as Bobo Shanti say that King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is a key part of that visit. It's not a religious doctrine we're trying to fit in to make it sound pretty. And that's why I said at the beginning of the program, even Rastafari in general, hailing the king, is not necessarily religion, you know. As I said, it was a geopolitical move that was considered criminal. You can't be hailing no king in the Queen land. Criminal, you understand? So when the emperor visited, what you hear us talk about the emperor direct link with King Emmanuel, it's just history. It's just facts. I mean, you have those amongst us, elders amongst us, Elder Pido, that will speak highly of King Emmanuel and show that King Emmanuel, he did an interview with my cousin brother Israel Dyer, you know, Dubtronics, clearly showing you that, hey, man, King Emmanuel, there's none amongst us like this man here. He's perfect amongst us. He grew up perfect amongst us. He's the priest and he loved the little children. You know what I mean? Even when Jamaica couldn't pay the people, the both of them give the Jamaican government money to pay the people. This is what Elder Peter say. And then and you have a man like Congo Rocky, you know what I mean? That stand clear, refer to King Emmanuel as our father, and show you that no man is the first man amongst us. None of them, none of I and I stand for human rights and justice like Bongo Eddie. So I'm just saying, it's just a reality. Ones may want to cover the story, but it's just a reality who the Black Christ is, King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Even if you don't believe in the Black Christ business and all of that, the reality of who the man is and how we stand diplomatically in the earth for human rights and justice, to the point that it was recognized by the United Nations. I mean, remember the Queen of England coming up and saying the land, there's a man in this land that no one is to molest. And she was given the red, gold, and green, and the red, black, and green, you know, before these statements were made. As I said, the first Rasta man to write the Queen of England. You know, things you remember that. The point I'm making is that he you know, as a advocate, advocator, if that's the correct term, myself, you know, it is with the English language, it's all right, I'm not a professor of it. But as an advocator of human rights and rights in general and whatever it is that I believe is right, I understand the vibration when you always on the backs of those who are in authority. So them that in authority know the man. King Emmanuel right Haile Selassie too. Haile Selassie we talking about now, you know, jokey thing, you know. So you don't think the king know who he meeting? So it's a diplomatic vibe. So to say the emperor leave documents concerning the man ain't nothing too hard to believe. Ain't nothing too hard to believe. And whether you believe he's Christ or not, that don't change that. You could believe in that and don't believe he's Christ. Nobody forcing you. It's just a fact. I always say when the king came and all the crowd was in front of the plane, the king called for Marty Moplano. Well, something, you know, maybe Marty Moplano could have used that and said, well, look, man, he says me the king called, but he could have said that, eh? I show you to get a few followers. He already had followers. I sure he could have sparked it up. Said, man, in the says me, how the king to call you. And I had a throat problem because he did like I couldn't speak. I think he just had an operation. And when the king called me, my voice come back. You know what I mean? Exactly. Here, check it. So, you know, I never believe in the first this and first that, but I know who King Emmanuel is. I know who he is. You know, yeah, I know he is. And to me, I find he very humble with who he is. You can say what you want. I find he very, very humble with who he is. So yeah, this is just when we say, man, let's get back to what we're talking about. This is exactly what we're talking about. Because the lamb without blemish, man. You see, the thing is, when the death angel passed over Egypt, the death angel looking for the palm oil on the doorpost. He looking for the blood of the lamb on the doorpost. And those who have that seal of the Lamb of God, that's what it means, you know, man. I know, yeah, you look and you see the story in the book and Superbook and Flying House and all the movies and Ten Commandments movie and Moses split the sea. I know that well trapped in your mind, but try rub that out and let's look at this realistically. Number one, we're going through a high vibes when it comes to allegory, reading this story, which is literal as well, but not in the story form like how it has been fed to us. That's my point. So I'm saying to you now, let's just get it straight. I did a video the other day about the 1st of April, and that it's seen as a New Year's Day to many. And the 1st of April, yes, being a New Year's Day, the beginning of a cycle. In fact, it is more so amongst, you would say, the Hebrew Israelite community, where it is pushed strong that April is that first month that the Bible speaks about. So it begins in April. Amongst the 12 tribes of Israel, brethren, Reuben is April, if I'm correct. Reuben is the first child, so it begins at that time. So, all right, fair enough. If I'm correct there, April, good. So when you read in the Bible now, and I think I would like to return to that, please hold tight. I'm not going to keep it too long. I know I said that already, but I'm soon done. Verse 18 of the Exodus that we read there. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. All right, good. 7 days shall ye eat, there shall be no unleavened bread found in the house. All right, I just checking the dates. So if April is the first month, and you actually begin it on the 1st of April too, don't you? Right. So the 1st of April is the first day of the month of the year. Good. So when we're reading Exodus here, Exodus 12, and it's talking about, you know, looking to Exodus out of the land, but we're looking for those who are sealed with the blood of the Lamb. And we're reading the story here. This is all taking place, according to my understanding here, at the beginning of the year. The first month of the year. So I would assume that's April. So it's saying here that this whole session now comes to its climax according to verse 18 on the 21st day of April. That's what it says. That's what it says, that it comes to its climax on the 21st day of April. Now, you may not follow the Bobo Shanti tradition. So in a sense, like, I'm somewhat kind of tuning in on the choir now, those who follow the Bobo Shanti tradition. So I'm saying here, and for everyone too, you know, to give you an understanding, that we see the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, again, in, to me, simple terms, the Black Christ. And I'm telling you, in the Christ, because that's where the word Christ comes from, the Christ, you know. And in all reality, you see, like how we're talking about African tradition. From my view, and this is a subject that I'm going to get into in depth very soon, we as Rastafari, I know we have a cultural aspect about us, but I think a lot of us, we are very afraid of African tradition in all forms. Now, there are many different African cultures, so you can't be everybody. But at the same time, my main thing is that Rastafari is an African culture. And we got to be careful of what aspects of, you know, maybe an outside culture we may be letting in, particularly European culture, Christian culture, straight up, what do you call it, Judaic culture. And you may say, but we are the original Jews. No, that's not the fight at all. I just said, I just read an article where they said Homowo, please listen to me good, is taken from the Jewish tradition. So that mind frame is that these people here are not the real Israelites. Somebody else, which we know who they're talking about, the same people that got washed away with the hose, the water hose, them is the true Israeli people of the Bible, the Jewish people. So we got our tradition from them. That's impossible. That is impossible. They just fabricated that stuff the other day. How long we keeping up this tradition? They just, and you know it, fabricated that. Even if it was taken from the truth and you could use it and see the truth, it's something they fabricated and kind of twist and tweak up and doctor up and say, yeah, give them back this. They took our stuff, they took our Homo and created something else and mixed it up and said, take it. So I'm showing you now, follow me good, that the reality in the story is this, that we see King Emmanuel as the Black Christ. And the scripture speaks of, in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, of the Lord coming forward, and you know, his eyes red like fire and teeth white with milk and wool upon his hair and white as wool, and his feet as burning brass. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, check it out anytime. Around verse 9 to about verse 13, key numbers. And he said he had, the fiery flame was around him, and the stream of lava flew from in front from the throne, and the books were open and the judgment was set. And then it says, listen to man, listen. And then it says, in the night vision, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. So you have the Ancient of Days, you know, who sat. He said, after the Ancient of Days slew the beast, then he sat. And then the books were open and everything else that goes with it that I just spoke of. And then one came unto the Ancient of Days. Now listen, this is seen, this type is seen in many, 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 many aspects of the Bible, plus many other cultures, of this figure, this kingly figure seated up, and this priestly figure approaching him. It's there. If you only watch the documentary 7 alone, you could see all the different cultures that have that. Nega Juna and Shanti Diva, and the names alone. Nega, Negusa Negas is the one that sat as the king, Negus Negas, and gave the power unto Shanti Diva. Shanti Bobo Shanti, and it's no joke. It is, if you watch the documentary again, Shanti Diva and Bobo Shanti and Bobo Dijeni and Maruk Bull, you know what I mean, Bull Bay. I'm sure you could remember the Bayon. So we have proof of that whole concept of the supreme figure coming and seated as a king, and another figure and an individual person by himself in some ceremonial fashion approaching him. It's all over, man. We can pull it out. Even down to the Hebrew and the Asa, we can pull it out. And these figures always seem to stay around for the same amount of years, 80 years. You know, so it's there. It's there. So King Emmanuel fits that figure there, that Abraham meeting Melchizedek figure there. And that is why we take the geopolitics of the day and apply it to even prophecy, and he fits it as well as the emperor fits his part. So King Emmanuel is a man that comes with a specific order, the Bobo Shanti order, a simple order yet a very complex order, an order of life, an order of saving your literal life, and yet an order of balancing your soul. An interesting thing, eh? A full salvation order, not a religious order, eh? But filled with the science of connecting with your ancestors' order. Very African in its tradition, with hints of many different traits of Africa in its tradition. Bingy, yes, but yet different. I'm talking about King Emmanuel Charles Edwards' order. So those of us who take up that order and follow the order, you could consider that we see that we have entered into the ark, that life-saving ark, you know, that soul-saving ark. So I'm saying now that on the 21st of April, when Haile Selassie came to Jamaica, this is the first time there's this official meeting of Haile Selassie and the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, and everything else that goes with the story. As I said, this is to me the fulfillment of Nega Juna and the Shanti Diva. This is the Archer constellation and the Serpent Holder constellation, for those who can remember all of that science there. This is exactly what is taking place here as we are looking on. Just as even in the testimonies, the testimony of Levi and the testimony of all the tribes, they all say that God shall come as a king in Judah, and God shall also rise as a priest in Levi. In fact, I think in one of those books, one of the descendants were asking, because they usually give this testimony when they're dying, so how can God rise in two figure? And they say God can do anything, and God will meet God, and that is seen in the mysteries of Melchizedek. And one of the biggest mysteries of Melchizedek is that in one generation, two Melchizedeks shall come. And one shall be a king in the east, and he shall come and visit the other Melchizedek, who shall be living in the hills for full 7 years, which anything you see with full 7 years going into the 8 years. So what's happening here? And we've shown that prophecy from, if you count the time when the Congress has started to this time. 1966, from 58 to 66, you're talking about a full 7 years. So the Melchizedek in the east shall come and meet the Melchizedek in the west, who shall be living in the hills for the 7 years. And you see it being fulfilled here at this moment, you know. So even when ones would argue and say, oh, Haile Selassie is the Melchizedek, nobody fighting you, you know, nobody fighting you at all, you know. So the point I'm making is that this is the Passover here. This is the Passover. In fact, I mean, no, this is Passover. I'm not making this up. Isn't this Passover? This is Passover. It's April now. It's almost Good Friday. It's Good Friday really because the sun set. We're celebrating the resurrection. You understand? This recording is done the Thursday evening, the Monday, Thursday, some say morning Thursday. The evening of it, technically we're already into Friday. You following me good? So it's Good Friday. Some people saying Happy Passover. Some people wait until the 14th or the 21st to say Happy Passover. You get what's going on here? According to the Bible, it climaxed on the 21st day of April. Look the sign right here, the 21st day of April. That's when it climaxed. God, according to Genesis, shall come over the land of Egypt with thick clouds too, you know. Remember, it was raining, the place was soaked down before the emperor come, and the sun came out and dried up the rain, and the 7 doves, they ain't no make believe, you know. This is not a cartoon, it's not a movie. 7 doves fly out, how it is, from the direction opposite to the plane, and when they disappear, the plane appear, the rainbow and everything. Real business. Nobody ever get such an ovation before. You know, even Elizabeth the Queen was there the month before. Nobody came to see that. And some school children line up and some flags waving, but that's about yeah. When the emperor come, man, police had to move, get aside, railing and so break down. Trust me, just to see the emperor. The other thing I'm gonna show you there before we leave. Maybe you watch this video over and over and you never check it out. How we push down police and run them over with bicycles. But anyway, before I leave, just remind me. So I'm just showing you now this here, 1966, the 21st day of April. Number one, it falls right in line with the biblical Passover, number one. And then Haile Selassie falls right in line with the biblical God, isn't it? Oh yeah. So what I'm saying now, and Jamaica falls right in line with the biblical Egypt. And King Emmanuel fall right in line with the same lamb, because it is the song of the lamb. It is the order of the lamb. You understand? It is the salvation tradition that the lamb brings to you, that you pick up and follow. Not just the dressing and the talking, but the doings as well as the sayings, the don'ts and all of that of the lamb. That is not necessarily blood on your house. No man, I could never tell anybody could kill any goat and be staining up the house with blood. In fact, it's not necessarily palm oil on the door neither. I mean, if you want to do that, I ain't stopping you. To be honest, I respect your tradition. You know, I mean, I'd love to see that and even partake in that straight up. You understand? Yeah, what are you talking about? Something wrong with it? No, what can be wrong with it? But the real meaning of it, I mean, the culture is good, the allegory is good, the story is good, and even the playing it out is good. But let's get real now. What's going on? The blood of the lamb on the doorpost is the order of the Black Christ. So that is why on Passover, when the King of Kings passed through, he was looking for the doorposts. And this one day here, this may have been 50 odd years ago, but this as well is just a symbol too for something else that is bigger that was sparked with this. So the point is that it is I and I
that take up the tradition of the lamb that's supposed to be saved at the judgment. I just told you 40 days is what quarantine means. I see people keeping distance from you and telling you how they can't touch you in blessed love. I said, blessed love. But people putting their hand on their heart now because you can't touch one another. You can't touch one another. The other day they had a prayer and fasting. During Lent, you know, they pick a day, the whole island, and this praying and fasting. I fasted with them, but I was fasting every day. So it's not as if they joined me. I said, but isn't this Lent? These people are Roman Catholics. These people are Anglicans. But yet still they're promoting a day of fasting. I say, y'all supposed to be fasting. And then the doctor's telling you the less you can eat it's better for you. COVID virus they're talking about, eh? Trust me. Don't touch one another. I said, but wait, what is this? You understand? And I noticed this all the time, even when they had the mosquitoes biting people, giving them dengue and that other stuff there, chikungunya. They were telling you, wear long sleeve shirts and pants and skirts. I said, oh, ho. You see, the point I'm making is, this is something else. This is something else. They locked down churches. Churches on lockdown. And when I say, you know, sometimes we are the ones that chant, we would chant earthquake God, and when we feel the earthquake, we get scared. Garvey say he shall return in a plague. Man trying to figure out everything. Oh, it come from Armadillo. There was a war taking place and a gunfight and a vial drop and break. You hear that one? Oh man, you miss out. This fella trying to sneak out of the US with some 18 vials of chemicals in his socks. 5G towers and networks, they're putting them up now. Everybody's on lockdown. Okay. Wow. You see, the thing with me is that I believe a lot in Garvey. And when Garvey says he shall return as a hurricane, and especially when the Honorable Priest Isaac take the gift that has been given to him and dissect. I don't think some of you ever see them videos we do on them hurricane. To me, that alone locked down the show. And we dissect them properly and say, yeah, proof, no one can deny Garvey at work here. And then people telling you about, no, they make up this hurricane, this is HARP. Some people so lost in the conspiracy theory business that even if you blow a wind, it's HARP. Somebody make that up. No, listen, hold on. And I think I've explained this properly before. We've done programs on HARP. I mean, when we talking about HARP, I mean, that's before YouTube days. When we talking about HARP on international radio stations, well, regional radio stations, them time. That's the time of AM. Nobody really talking about no HARP. So don't come and jump on us as if, I mean, HARP. I mean, listen. Not only don't they really create storm, but they manipulate the weather. And I agree, some of the real storms, they jump on them real storms and manipulate them. And some of us, we don't even dissect it on that level. So it's not as if they just make a storm. They need something to strike the match. And there are storms that they have manipulated terribly. Katrina for sure is one of them. And that is, you can decisively prove that. But certain of them killers that step up, man, is Garvey himself talking. And I ain't backing off of that at all. You want to give all the credit to HARP. Every earthquake is HARP. So what, God not in the earthquake business no more? Come on, man. Yeah, so that's the level they are talking about. So the reality is that this science here now,
as I'm saying here of the Black cries. This science here, even at this time, is what is saving lives. They may not say it's that, but everything I hear them saying, it fits right in. It fits right in with our ancient culture, with our grandmother's culture. And then they're still going overboard because a lot of what this hand sanitizing thing, the idea is good, but you don't have to be washing your hands in bleach. Use some lemons, or some real, especially you in the Caribbean, use the real sour orange lemon, not the lemon in the supermarket with the funny shape. You understand? Use the real lemons and wash your skin. Use your kojo and your guinea hen and take a bath with the soursop leaves and wash your skin. Take the dry neem, where's my neem bush? Take the dry neems and smoke out the house and fumigate. All of that is Emmanuel order. If you follow Emmanuel order to the T, you wake up every morning sweeping and lighting fire. Every morning. If you follow King Emmanuel order, fire always in your house. Always, never out. Keep the fire burning. We just talk, we don't mean nothing. And if you notice that they say if you follow Emmanuel order, you keep the Sabbath, you know. Or you know, we read down and none of that. And all of that may be true, but there's a lot more to it. It's a science. It's a science. That's why some of you try to run from the voodoo tradition. It is a science, even on that level. Hey, listen, there's so many things I wanted to talk about, you know, but listen, I'm gonna look to seal it right about now. But what I want to do, you know, the Bubble Shanti order is so mystic as such, eh? That, you know, at the time of the resurrection, and we speak about this, and I'm going to seal up with this. I really am. Thanks for, you know, being with us. But of course, you know, we have our resurrection service. And during our resurrection service, what we do, there's a key hymn that we sing, the Hallelujah hymn. Now, what it is that, you know, and I'm going to speak from my knowledge of the history and years of gathering this history, I think I am of the authority to speak it now clear. If I make a little slight mistake, it's all right, it ain't that off. All right. Now, our resurrection Friday morning service from ancient of times, from the time of Bakawal, and them from Bakawal will tell you, this is Bakawal talking, is, you know what I mean, 1958 and the 1950s. So our resurrection tradition, whenever we started that Good Friday service, of which I cannot put my hand on the date, but I'm just showing you, because I'm speaking what has been spoken to me, those that would have tried from that time, 58 and in the 60s and whenever, and I could call name, you have Priest Rolo, Honorable Priest Bob, you know, as individuals that would have known this thing, no disrespect to none, but even some of our elders now, I mean, ain't nothing. I mean, I was crowned in 2001, but some of the elders is, you know, is the 80s, they come, and the 70s, which is good. I mean, I was born in the 70s, but I'm just trying to show you this certain level of information. Ones that tried it from the 50s will tell you that our resurrection service has always been all white. I ain't making it up. And I know I'm not lying on nobody. And I call people names. All white. Okay. Now there was a specific time, which is not that long ago. It was actually, from what I gather, in the very early 90s when our Friday morning service became black over white. Not Good Friday, no, Friday morning service. This would have been early 90s or late 80s. And, they're ones that could tell you that, for example, our history would show that there was a time when the hill got a serious cleansing, in the sense, not cleansing like of bad energy, but a lot of ones were there from different Caribbean islands, and something happened and the authorities came and a lot of ones got dipped or deported. Trinidad, St. Croix, certain places. So a lot of ones that would have gone through that would have told me that when they left the hill, the black over white service wasn't taking place. And that should have been in the very early 90s, or at least the very late early 80s. In fact, it was a letter that they received saying that from now on, the Friday morning service would be black over white. And that's what it is. The Friday morning service would be black over white. Now, what has happened is that there has seemed to be, and this is the main thing, there seems to be this thing about if the Good Friday is also black over white, or it still remains as all white. And everything I just told you, I think, is factual and clear. There's nobody that really can say, well, no, that's not how it goes. I didn't give no grand detail. I just gave a kind of simple outlook on what it is. But now this aspect of it, this is what needs to be, you need a debate forum for this one here, panel discussion. Because the vast majority of ones will tell you that yes, King Emmanuel does still wear his all white, but we supposed to wear the black over white, saying that from that time when the order was that Friday's black over white. But yes, Friday's black over white, but the resurrection, Good Friday, is white. Now listen, I ain't gonna stick on that forever, because when I came into this thing, it's black over white I see in Bobo Hill. When I went to Trinidad, I was actually shocked when I see everybody in all white, and I tried to figure out what's going on. And from that time, and I mean, resurrection in Jamaica was strictly black over white. Very few you would see in white, but at that time there was so many people there that them very few, maybe 5 or so people. And then you come to learn that these 5 people are people that are very stern in their white. And they will tell you, look, man goes far say the black over white man is disobedient, they're disobedient. Just tell them he's white. And but anyway, I don't want to cause no confusion right now on that. I had to explain it so you could see the point I'm making properly. As I said, in Trinidad, everybody was in white, but then again, you have to keep in mind, a lot of the elders left Jamaica even before the black over white Friday service was given. So even they know Good Friday as all white. And to be honest, in reality, if you know the Bobo, especially speaking to Bobo Shandi, if you understand the Bobo culture and history properly, anything done in the 1990s and so, is a mystic time. Straight up, it's a mystic time. Enough things would happen that, even the Black Christ is not something sanctioned by, and that's just reality. But anyway, this hymn here, the Hallelujah hymn, this is sung you have it there, King? You can get a little of that. This is sung every resurrection. You have a resurrection service and you're not singing Hallelujah, it's like you don't have a resurrection service. If you're not singing Low in the Grave He Laid, something wrong. And you can play it softly. So this hymn here, it has, it's a must sing. Hallelujah. O sons and daughters of the King, whom heavenly hopes in glory sing hosts. Today, the grave has lost its sting. Hallelujah. That Easter morn at break of day, the faithful woman went their way. to see the tomb where Negus laid hallelujah. Okay. Now he goes on to say, an angel clad in white they see, who sat and spoke unto the tree. Your Lord has gone to Galilee. Hallelujah. Now this hymn, for those who say, well, you know what I mean, King Emmanuel say and King Emmanuel say, all right. The third verse of this hymn that sing every resurrection, I don't even think I ever hear it sing up any other time. An angel clad in white, not in black over white, in white they see. According to Priest Morgan, King Emmanuel say that he wake up early the Friday morning and bust up the earth. Put on his whites and bust up the earth, man. And you know, the same time he telling me that the earth shake for real. Had a chalice in my hand. An angel clad in white they see, who sat and spoke unto the tree, you know. Your Lord has gone to Galilee. Give thanks for the resurrection. Of course, the corona. Corona means crowning. This is a different time on the planet. Different time. Yeah. But I would like to say, you know, do give thanks for the life giver and the keeper of life. The Coral Garden, the Coral Gardens massacre, I think celebrating, not celebrating really, I don't know how many years, from 1960 what it was, about 52 or so years. That is around Good Friday too. You know, the crucifixion and the resurrection of Christ. We did a whole program on that one there, directly dealing with the Coral Gardens massacre. I think that one is the crucifixion and the resurrection of King Emmanuel. Check them programs out, man. Watch them, man. Feed on them. It will bring more vibes and connection with even the program that we just did here a moment ago. So give thanks again, you know, and for those of you who are subscribers to the Shock of the Hour, you know I will meet you in the Tiger's Nest in the Shock of the Hour region. And remember, if you're not a subscriber, all you have to do is contact us and, you know, make provisions to receive your Shock of the Hour every night. So give thanks again for the life giver and the keeper of life, you know. If you know your Bible and you didn't know your history, the knowledge of your Bible become a mystery. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie,
Rastafari.
Summary: International Homeschool, African History / Heritage, Class 2, K. Kiswahili, Jambo. Jambo means hello or hi. Habari gani. Habari gani means how are you. Nzuri. Nzuri means I am fine. Emperor Haile Selassie I is the 225th Emperor of Ethiopia. He was crowned on the 2nd of November 1930, and he was also crowned or coronated with his wife, the Empress Menen Astronomy. The Kingdom of Kush is synonymous with the Kingdom of Ethiopia, with some minor differences as it relates to ancient borders. The oldest fossils of human beings and artifacts and remains from the ancient world can be found in modern-day Ethiopia. For example, Lucy, the Iknish, 3.2 million years old. The first signs of civilization as well can be seen in Ethiopia and along the banks of the River Nile. The ancient Meduneta hieroglyphs, as well as even the biblical origin, all of this can be found in Ethiopia. Blessed.